Hello everyone, it's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. Okay, it's Thursday night. Aptera released their video of the of how the PI2 builds are going. Now, this video is lagging the posts that Jason and Steve do on X. So I think what Jason and Steve are posting on Twitter or X is the most up-to-date status of how the build is going. But this was a fun video, and we see a lot of the whole thing. Not as much as I would like, and probably not as much as you guys would like, but it's only a minute long, and I thought we'd kind of go over it together. People really liked the video, and I liked the video too. What I would have liked, really, would be a longer video where someone goes through and films the entire thing without any cuts, and then talks about the different pieces and explains what the different pieces are, what's been done, and what's gonna be done. I think that'd be really useful for us because it's a right to repair vehicle. We're getting a look at the insides of the vehicle as it's being built, and it would be a really fun way to get to know the vehicle better. So, but there's probably various reasons that they're not doing that, but I really wish that they would do something like that. Just walk around, look under every nook and cranny, point out the different things, explain to us what the parts are, what they do, how they work, that kind of thing. So instead, you guys are stuck with me trying to explain this instead. And I'm going to try to do as good a job I can with this 1-minute video. It cuts, they have like really fancy edits and cuts and goes with this music really well. But we can piece out some details out of this thing. Okay, so it starts off with this, which becomes quickly apparent that this is a render. This is not the picture of the actual PI vehicle. I mean, I guess you could have surmised that from it floating in midair, but it becomes pretty evident because they switch over to the actual PI vehicle. In this case, they did a render, so it seems like they generated a render of the vehicle at the state that the PI vehicle was actually at in the physical world. So you see here, the steering rod is in place. There's no drive shaft in place. And we know from yesterday's video that the axle and the wheel hubs are now installed. So it lags a little bit. Okay. What else do we need to look at? Okay, on the actual vehicle, there's some things in the front here that don't show up on the render, and I'm not quite sure what they are. They look like some kind of something that needs to dissipate heat, but I'm not quite sure what it is. Okay, so here we are. It's switched over to the physical vehicle, and it's actually very nice to see that the physical vehicle and the render vehicle look so much alike. So the fit is really nice. You can see the pieces fit together very well. So the bink is definitely coming together very well. You see the steering tie right here. Obviously, in the real world, there's gravity, so the CV joint kind of gets pulled down by gravity. And this is what I'm talking about. There's these things in the front here that a little I don't know what they are, but it does look like, if you look carefully, it has some fins. So it looks like it's something that needs to dissipate heat. And if you look, this looks like it could be like a coolant, like a nipple for hooking up coolant hoses. So maybe it's something that needs to be cooled, or it's part of a radiator and it's doing the cooling. So I'm not sure about that. So here's the subframe. Looks really cool. This is obviously the redesigned subframe with a port open for the inboard motor. And here's the hatch. And what you may have noticed is there is a full steering wheel on here. This is not a yoke. Now, it's been confirmed by Chris M that this is just for the testing vehicle. So PI2 probably only. PI4 will probably have the yoke. But so this will be either disappointing or a relief for some of you guys that the wheel is just for the PI2 vehicle. It is not a change in the production. Okay, so here we have another look at this piece in the front that we're not quite sure what it is, but it has fins and it does look like it has some coolant nipples here. Here you can see the EMR3 engine behind the subframe here, and here's where the axle attaches. And then here is the steering control arm here, the steering rod with the CV joint kind of drooping down. Now, what I think is kind of funny is there's a question mark right here, and I don't know what that means. Looks like there's a V here and a dot here, and they're like question mark here. Like, was someone confused about what goes here, or are they thinking when they do the actual frame maybe they'll take this out and change it a little bit? But there's definitely a big red question mark on this little hole here, so I don't know what that's about. But I have to say, this looks so cool. The carbon fiber, the subframe. Yeah, I mean, it's happening, guys. All right, and so now we're looking at the back, and here's the bunk of the tub. And then as we go forward, you can see here, this is the swing arm for the rear center wheel. And it has, like, it's designed in a way where, like, this upper part is offset and the bottom part is symmetrical. And there's got to be a good reason for that. But this is obviously where, I think maybe it's offset this way because the part that holds the wheel is going to be off to the left side of the vehicle, the driver's side of the vehicle. But you can see it's hollowed out here. I mean, it looks, I just like seeing machine pieces of metal. They look cool. So there it is. I mean, this is a pretty large piece. Now, luckily, it's hollowed out and stuff, so I think it's probably not that heavy. But, and it looks like, I don't know if the shocks are supposed to go here or go across here, this part of the vehicle. So it's unclear to me if the shocks have been installed or not installed on this rear swing arm yet. Okay, so here's the rear hatch. With the little honeycomb pattern that adds rigidity and kind of recapitulates the solar panels. This was Jason's design. I think it looks cool, looks really nice. So it's both aesthetic and functional. Okay, so here's the steering wheel again. And and you can get a kind of a quick view of the top here. This looks flat. This is definitely not the top of the engine. The engine is below this thing. So the EMR3 engine is below this thing. And this is actually has been confirmed. This is the onboard charger. And we'll talk about that a little bit. I think everyone kind of came to agreement that this is an aluminum piece, not a steel piece. Steel piece, people figured would be too expensive, too heavy, and then they thought this metal looked too white to be steel. I don't know. I've seen steel in my washer dryer that looks like this, so I'm not 100% sure, but I think people that know more than me are saying it's aluminum, so let's go with it. A lot of people in the comments were very excited about this wheel. They're like, yes, we want a wheel. We don't want the yoke. Because people are very pro yoke or pro wheel. I'm kind of ambivalent. It doesn't really matter to me. But this one comes with a full wheel. And I don't know if they did that just because they felt like the wheel was better for testing or if the yoke wasn't quite ready yet. So I'm not sure the reasoning behind that. The other thing I noticed is these are standard pedals. The recycled skateboard top pedals appear to be gone. And I forgot to ask if that's also a PI2 only thing or if they're abandoning the skateboard top pedals for that. Maybe Steve or Jason will chime in the comments and let us know on this video. Okay, so this is it. This is the onboard charger. Chris M came by and confirmed that, and that's what that is. Here's one of the things I actually sort of disagree with about the design of the Aptera. The charger port is in the way back of the vehicle, and then the charger is in the extreme front of the vehicle. So you have to run some pretty, if you want to do DC fast charging, you're going to need to run pretty heavy gauge wire from the back all the way to the front. It seems like it wouldn't be that much harder to like put a lid on the nose cone and like just put the port in the front here. I know that the port has always been in the back since the beginning, but and if I'm correct, the major control unit for the battery is way in the back of the battery pack. That also seems wasteful because now you got to run a port you got to run heavy duty wires from the back to the front to the charger, and then from the charger to the battery, you have to go all the way to the back of the battery pack again. It just seems like it would be more efficient, cheaper, and use less material and be lighter to have the charge port in the front, the charger in the front, and then also the electricals of the battery in the front part of the battery. I don't know if like the packaging was difficult that way. I'm guessing there's a reason for that, but I'm not sure what it is. But what I do know is that the current configuration does require some heavy gauge wire to be run from the back to the front and then to the back again. And so that seems a little inefficient in the design. Here it is with everything open. So you can see that the gas struts for the butterfly doors and for the hatch are installed. So this is the open configuration. I mean, it looks cool. What can we say? It looks awesome. Okay, so that's the end of it. It's a very, very short video. I think probably like maybe 45 seconds of actual footage in this, or maybe even less with all the cuts and edits. Again, I hope maybe someone from Aptera will be listening. I hope what they do is get some engineers and just walk through the vehicle, point at the different parts and say, what's this, what's that, what's this? Here are the things we're working on here. Here's what's left to be done. Here's how this thing connects to that thing. Here's how this system works. That would be just very informative and basically project this aura of confidence and competence. And I think that would be good for Aptera. It's much like, a while ago, Lucid was doing the tech talks. Peter Rawlinson was coming down and like basically breaking down how the battery pack and the motor and whatever work, and just like going through the engineering of it and stuff. This is an opportunity to basically show the vehicle as it's being built, because once it's fully built, some of these parts are not going to be visible, and then we can't see them. And so I think this is an opportunity for Aptera to like show the parts as they're being built, describe the parts, give their thought process on why that was designed that way, maybe some compromises that were made. I mean, like a lot of good content could be made that would be very useful for future owners. So I hope they do that. Maybe they're not doing it with this because there's a lot of parts on PI2 that are not, really production intent. But maybe with PI4, I really hope they do something like that. That would be really, really good. Okay, and then, true to form, Steve Fambro on Twitter posted another daily update. And, it's not much of one, but you can see the actual PI vehicle in the background. And obviously, this PI vehicle is much farther built than the vehicle in the video we just saw. But you see the 3 tires. And what we can now, I can't tell what the size is, so I don't know what size they ended up with because we're looking at the tread and not the size, so we can't read off the size. We don't know what model or well, we know what brand the tire is because Steve says over here that it's from Hanguk Tire and it has a special compound. He states that there's a special compound developed by Hanguk just for Aptera for just the right traction and low rolling resistance. So it's, they're trying to get the Goldilocks of low rolling resistance so you have good efficiency, but enough traction so it's fun to drive and safe, obviously. So what we do know also is there was some talk of possibly the front tires being a different size than the rear tire. That looks like that is not going to be the case. They're all going to be the same. So you could theoretically rotate these tires, but I think if you rotate them, you're going to have to rotate them very, very frequently because the front tires are going to wear much faster than the rear central tire because the front tires are handling both acceleration, braking, and steering. So just like in almost any front wheel drive vehicle, they're gonna handle the lion's share, and they're gonna of the frictional control of the vehicle. So they're gonna experience the most wear. So I think you're gonna have to rotate them pretty frequently because usually in a four-wheel vehicle you rotate the back to the front, and so the both back tires are similarly not as worn as the front. But if you rotate this a three-wheel car around, then the one in the back is going to have much less wear. And like let's say you rotate it to the front passenger side. The front passenger tire is going to be very different from the front driver's side tire if you wait too long. So if you have to rotate, you're going to have to rotate a lot. The other option is just like not to rotate, I guess, and just replace the front tires and leave the rear tires on for a long time. I mean, that's kind of what I do with my bikes. On bikes, the front tire like almost never wears out, and the rear tire wears out really, really fast because that's the drivetrain tire, and that experiences the most wear. But okay, so true to, I hope Steve keeps doing this, giving us daily updates. I mean, even if they're little teasers like this, it's fun to follow along, and I hope he keeps doing it. So, Steve, if you're listening, please keep up the daily updates. And Jason, if you're listening, more updates the better, as far as we're concerned.